Hello and welcome to Predictocast's special retrospective month. I don't know, we didn't really come up with a name for this thing, but for the month of December, we are going to be looking back at some films that we've covered in the past 4 years of the show that have stuck with us for whatever reasons. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad, but for whatever reason, they've stuck with us. We've referenced them constantly. And we are kicking things off with a movie that was very important to our show. My name is Josh, and with me, as always, is Skinner. Hi, Skinner.
Hi, I'm also very important to this show.
That's right. Without you, there would be no show. But we're not alone. We don't want to talk about these movies without bringing our friends into the mix, people that have been on the show before, that we love and cherish. And this week, we are joined by frequent guest, Beau North. Hello, Beau North.
Hello. Hello, Josh. Hello, Skinner.
Oh, hi. I'm so happy you're here.
We are delighted to have you because, normally we might, if this year were a normal year, we might have spent Thanksgiving week all together.
Mm-hmm.
But unfortunately, it's not a normal year. But we thought it was right to have you on for some turkey leftovers because we are talking about turkey shoots.
Yeah, I'm here. Hands down, ass up. I'm ready.
Now, did you force Beau to watch this while at her place one time?
No, she watched it of her own accord.
Yes, we did. My husband and I watched it on our own because we were trying to watch along with your show when you guys first got started. Like, we wanted
and you
to watch
abandoned that very quickly.
Oh my gosh, we don't have time.
No, and no one wants to watch the movies we pick. That's a bad idea.
No, yeah, it's a terrible idea. Don't do that.
And this year, you did not get a chance to make her watch the Rudy Giuliani movie.
Oh my God. I would have been like, Josh, you need to go to a hotel. You can't stay here.
I like I tweeted, I don't want to watch that, but I also really want to watch that movie.
I mean, James Woods. Oof.
Like two just detestable people.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you have a detestable person playing a detestable person.
Yep.
And
I mean,
so
naturally.
fucking earnest. Like, just sitting there watching this person talk like, oh, you're a great man who believes in something. I'm like, no, he doesn't.
The worst thing is that James Woods is a good actor. Like,
Yes, that's the bad part.
It sucks. Like, he's talented.
It's not like he's Dean Cain or like Kevin Sorbo or something. Like, those guys suck as actors and they have shitty views, but like, James Woods has been in good stuff.
Yeah. I always think about, his performance in Casino is so good. Like, he's just that sniveling, shitty sort of just, he looks like he could have been in Turkey Shoot. James Woods in Casino belonged in this movie.
I would love to see a movie that shot him into hamburger, honestly, at this point.
He would have made a good dodge in that like sniveling character mode.
Yeah.
But this movie is kind of important to our show, to the history of our show, because this was the 10th movie that we ever covered on the show. It was the first, I think, suggested to us by Felipe Sobrero, who has just, he's the podcast wonder kid who just does all this amazing work for various podcasts, whether it's artwork or suggesting movies for us or whatever. But like,
he's a friend of our show. Yeah.
Yes, he's done some great. He did a T-shirt for you guys, which is amazing. And I think that it's like it was the first movie, and I think we even talked about this, Skinner, like that. It felt like this was the kind of thing that we wanted to cover on our show because it was just so bonkers and wild, and it was just so, like, it kind of blew our minds to think like, oh, we could get movies like this regularly, like things that just come out of nowhere and then like there's a Wolfman in it for some reason, and like it kind of opened up the world of what we thought the show could be.
Absolutely. And mind you, most of them didn't turn out to be this good, but it put us upon a path, and we've had some great other requests from listeners over the time as well that have really hit the spot. But like this movie, from the first 10 minutes, tells you nothing about what this movie is going to be. Like nothing.
Yes, exactly.
It's like I think at the time we watched the first 10 minutes, and I thought, based on the description and a couple other things, that I was watching the wrong movie.
Did you guys know this movie had an alternate title?
They most of the other ones do, but what's the one in this one?
Of course I say that now. I don't have it pulled up.
Is it? I know it was also Escape 2000.
I think it might have been Escape.
And Blood
yeah,
Camp,
I think that's what it is.
Blood
I
Camp
think maybe
Thatcher?
we did talk about that. I can't remember.
What does Blood Camp Thatcher mean?
Because
it's
the warden's name was
Thatcher.
Thatcher. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like they just did that in the UK because Margaret Thatcher, right?
Oh yeah,
I mean, they'd
probably
have to.
In 1982.
This is a nice sly PSA. Everyone watch season 4 of The Crown. You don't have to like the royal family. I think they're terrible too, but that is an amazing season of television.
I
actually just started watching the show from the beginning.
Oh, cool. You'll figure out why my high school, named after a baby at the time, Prince Andrew, should change its name.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think I already know that.
I think everyone knows that.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think you're right, though. Blood Camp Thatcher definitely was a very not very veiled reference, I guess.
Was this movie made in Australia? Because it seems to have a lot of Australians in it.
Yes.
Okay.
It is an Aussie. It's what you would call an Ozploitation movie.
Okay.
But yeah, it's very Aussie. I think the guy who plays Alph might be an Australian wrestler.
That is correct. He's
yes,
but like no one that anyone would really know. But like
no,
he was a Australian championship wrestler, and then he became possibly the greatest character in any movie ever. Alph. Boy, he comes on. He wears a top hat and he has a vest.
Well, and that's why I think that's why we got so enamored with this movie, because his appearance is sort of out of nowhere. Like you get the veiled reference that the smarmy guy makes at the beginning, where he's like Tito, I think is his name. He's like, yeah, I've got something. I have extravagant taste, or he says something like that, but you don't know what that means. So that when she rides up on her horse and there's just a wolf man with a top hat sitting there, and you're like, okay, this movie has just opened up into something much bigger than I was expecting.
This movie has everything. It has wolves and top hats. It has it's the sleazy Hunger Games. It has cute yellow boiler suits. I will say those jumpsuits, cute.
I like their shoes match it.
Yeah, they were wearing Converse.
Josh messaging me like immediately, like I just stood up. He said like I just stood up and cheered at this movie, which is when Alph appeared on screen.
I mean, how could you not, though? Like, I think that it's just one of those things that's so, because everything else about the movie is sort of what you expect when you know what kind of movie it is. When you're like, oh, it's like a future prison. It's the future that liberals want, and everybody's under like. Actually, this seems more like what Trump and his people are trying to get done right now.
I feel like this movie likes to think it's Antifa, but it's more like your weird libertarian uncle.
It's definitely that. Who in the Trump administration? Who's Trump's Alph?
Oh,
is it Barr?
I would say Barr, or I mean Bannon's out, so but it would. Yeah, I would say
Bannon's
Bannon.
like, yeah. I mean Bannon's just a half human at best. Like,
yeah. I mean, he can put on a top hat and a vest, but that does not make him a man.
No. I mean, like he clearly has been near some sort of nuclear waste at some point, and that's has changed him on a molecular
I think
level.
he's the most Wolfman like in appearance, but it's hard to say who else
and
who currently
personality.
in there.
I mean, let's be honest.
I mean, I can see Miller starting one of these camps, just as for fun.
Oh yeah,
with his free time now, like.
He's the guy that owns Alph.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
he's Tito.
Yeah.
Alph is so good though. Like that, like the idea that this movie says, like all of a sudden, like, by the way, guys, there is a wolf man in this movie, and you're like, what? Why would there be a wolf man? Like, we're not going to talk about
Why
it.
wouldn't there
is one.
be?
And he's really dapperly dressed. And
Yeah,
like,
I love that their only explanation, and I'm pretty sure we did talk about this way back in the episode of like, how did he find him, and that we wanted a prequel movie where it showed Tito meeting Alph and like gaining his trust and helping him escape the circus. But like that's all the explanation you get is like, oh, what is he? And he's just like, he's a freak from the circus. And you're like, that's not really a good explanation.
No, it is
but
not.
you don't want nothing. Anything that really would be explanation would only take away from what it is. Like. It's to the point where like I imagine them putting makeup on him, and he's like, oh, I'm kind of chilly, mate, because he's Australian, and he puts on like I'll put on this vest to warm up over the suit, and like they called like, oh, be on the set in 2, and he's like, you know what, gonna run with it. Like he forgot that he had the hat and the vest on, and he's like they just started filming. They're like, oh shit, he still has the clothes on. That looks ridiculous. They're like, God, don't worry about it. Let's keep going. We'll keep going.
We're burning daylight. We're burning daylight. Just get it done.
We're only shooting this island for like 5 days.
Do you guys know that they remade this movie in?
Yeah, I think we might have referenced it in the episode, but I've not seen it, and it looked very dull.
Yeah.
So I was like, I don't really have any reason to watch that. Although it's very funny because if you try to watch Turkey Shoot on Amazon Prime,
Mm-hmm.
the 1982 version is, according to them, not available on Prime. But when you see the 2015 version, which is available on Prime, it's just the 1982 version.
I love the poster for the 2014 version because it has the words Turkey Shoot in this really dramatic metallic like font, and it's like those words you can't do like that.
It's called Turkey Shoot.
Like I know what it
needs to be
means.
in Comic Sans or something.
Exactly. Like this movie is so serious, but the script is in Comic Sans. Like it wants to take itself so seriously with this whole story about, you know, this society that's just all over everybody and re-educating everybody, but at the same time there's a fucking wolf man in it, you know?
Yeah.
I wonder if there's a wolf creature in the remake. Probably not, because it feels like they would get rid of all the fun stuff.
There's a
in
character,
the new one.
There's a character in the movie that is credited as dictator of Libya, and that probably is their Alph. There's also president of the United States.
Oh yeah, I see. Oh, and I see Charles Thatcher II. So maybe this is a sequel to.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, that's kind of that's interesting because it was released internationally as Elimination Game.
That's also a terrible name.
Guess is a better idea of what it's about, but not a good title. Very generic.
I mean,
Right.
nothing's Turkey Shoot, if nothing else, is not generic. I swear we've watched for this show like 6 movies that are called Elimination Game.
Yeah, I mean that's
probably.
That's pretty basic.
Yeah. The guy who co-wrote and directed the new one, he said, I loved Turkey Shoot, but I did not want to remake it. This is a complete reinvention.
Then
The
why?
original was a bit cheesy and camp. This time we're playing it for real. There's no irony.
But that's what was fun about it.
Yes.
Like there's all out there in the world people who have the ability to create and stage and block out and organize movies, and like that by themselves you would think they are creative people, yet so many of them look at what works in movies and original movies and other things, and they go like, I want to remake that, except for I want to make it gritty and less ironic. And it's like, why do you all want to do that? Like, why are you all 13? Like, are you so afraid? Like, oh, my friends don't understand that Wolverine could say fuck, but he can't on the screen. It's like, what are you? Is everyone afraid to be called a baby or be told like you like something that's goofy?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's that weird thing where like you have this trajectory that when you're a kid, you like silly stuff, and then you get a little older, you get to like your teens, and you're kind of like wanting to be more serious because you want people to take you seriously and like pay attention to you and think that you have opinions on things that matter, which you don't because you're still a child.
No.
And then you get a little older, and that kind of continues. And then as you get to like sort of roughly where we are, you kind of get back into like the silly stuff. And not everybody, but some people do. It's like, of course I would want a movie with a wolfman in a top hat. Why would I not ever want that?
I think it's with age comes not giving a shit.
Yeah, there's that.
I think you're right. That's it.
The problem is like you mentioned like a childhood that lasts from age 11 through 38, and that's mostly dudes.
Yup.
I mean, that's true. Like I went the other way though. I don't need to see.
You're becoming a baby now. That's what you're doing.
No, yes, I'm Benjamin Buttoning, but I'm not the kind of person. Like I want to see Alph in every movie. I don't need to see the new scarier version of Steppenwolf in the Justice League movie. Like that shit doesn't mean anything to me.
Like I like rhinoceroses, but if the rhinos had more horns, I could really get into it. And my friends would look at me and they're like, "Do you like rhinos?" I'm like, "I do, and here's why." 15 horns. I'm like, that's fucking badass. Like, I'm fucking badass for liking rhinos with 15 horns, aren't I? They're like, you're damn right you are. It's like, God damn it, just calm down with things.
Really?
It's fine to like a regular rhino.
Right. It's fine to like a regular Steppenwolf. It's fine to like a wolfman in a top hat.
It is. But you know what? If he was a robot and he said fuck a lot, that would be pretty cool too.
I did think that like obviously they are laying it on very thick in terms of kind of the idea of this is what you have to do, but I did find it very funny that that when they're giving all of the work to the prisoners and stuff, the announcements over the PA are like, some of the jobs that you have to do will seem pointless. It's like, yeah, we're living in this world right now, man.
Yeah, that's called life.
That's called life. You're just doing busy work. Like, God, like when I hear now, like, people saying like, oh, because at first everyone's afraid to go work from home this year. They're like, oh, no one will do any work. And then like by like midsummer, early fall, you saw like, hey, a lot of places have figured out like once they got their feet under it, it's not that bad. They didn't lose as much productivity as they thought, and in some cases they got better. And now you see think pieces as it's coming, we're getting closer to the vaccine in theory, like people saying like the biggest problem with all this work from home was time theft. And I'm like, fuckers, like like you don't need something from every second.
Give me the vaccine. Give it to me.
Give it to me.
I don't give a shit about your bottom line.
It's exactly. And like all this nonsense. It's just like we do live a world where everything is kind of pointless. I wouldn't mind if like there was a little voice over the speaker saying like, you're gonna do pointless stuff. Because we just want
just telling you, just letting you get used to it.
Just get used to this whole idea that we don't even care. We're just making you work every inch of every second of your day because we can.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean it's echoed in his in Thatcher's like freedom is obedience is work is life, and it's like, yeah, man, that really hasn't changed much. Like that's pretty much what we're doing now still. Like it just like I know that they're doing like, oh, this is far future, and if we're not careful, they'll take over and put us all in camps, and this is the stuff they'll be saying, but it's kind of still the stuff that we're saying now. Like it's still happening.
Isn't Thatcher basically just doing a BuzzFeed article about how we should really maximize our time and really concentrate during the lockdown to make sure we're bettering ourselves at all time?
Yeah, here's how to be more efficient and proficient. Wear a jumpsuit at all times. So you don't have to worry about clothes. Be like Steve Jobs. Have the same uniform always.
Jumpsuits are cute and they are comfortable. So I'll give them that.
I
not-
expected by this point. I mean, it's 2020. We
Mhm.
should be all in jumpsuits by
should
this
all be
point,
wearing
but we are not.
I mean, like, God damn it. If we learn nothing else this year, we should learn that, like, wearing comfortable clothes is great. Why are we going back away from that?
Mm-hmm.
No, I think that 2021. If your job makes you return, like if they want you to come back into the office once the vaccine's been distributed, but let's face it, that's not going to happen at least till the middle of next year, if not closer to the end of next year. But there should be a thing where like you can wear sweatpants to work now because it's
who cares?
totally fine.
Yeah.
Like,
Because who gives a shit?
like literally everything was a construct to fit the bill for what the white guy who runs your company's dad said business was.
Yeah.
That's all it is. Like, oh, clothes make the man. Not really. Not
No.
really. No. Like,
No,
if
my
you're
husband is
uncomfortable-
the best person in the world, and he doesn't own a single shirt that doesn't have a hole in it.
And yet he has the greatest orange suit in the world that he could wear to work every day.
No,
I think-
he's outgrown that.
Oh man. You should at least frame it then, like on the wall, like when you go to like go
Like a
into,
basketball thing.
or like
Yeah.
you go into like a back when you could go into a Hard Rock Cafe and like they have like an outfit from a movie under a frame, just like that orange
I have
suit.
been needing an idea of what to get him for Christmas this year.
Oh, get him a mannequin and put the suit on it and just stand it in the corner.
You guys should do like head like foot to top of your head portraits, like real size, and put them on the wall. Like
Okay.
literally taking up entire walls of yourself and just all over the place. And then if someone ever broke in, they wouldn't know which one was the real you.
That's not creepy at all.
I mean, it's more of an effective plan against break-ins than a decor.
I think to like dissuade break-ins, I would just want to live in like the first floor. If I had the money, the first floor of my house would just be a hall of mirrors. And good luck to you if you decide to break in.
What if they broke your mirrors?
They would never escape. I mean, that's just how it goes.
They wouldn't. BTW, you will never escape.
Well, for my home security, nothing beats a wolfman in a top hat.
That's
Very true. Okay, this brings me to a question.
What's
Mm.
that?
And I'm gonna make it hard on you.
Okay.
Who is your favorite character in this movie that's not Alph?
Okay.
The President of the United
first.
States of America.
He's not in this movie.
He's in a movie called Turkey Shoot.
Yeah. I'm going to have to say I don't even know her name. Melissa?
The one on the
Lisa?
horse.
Yeah, the woman on the horse with the
That's
You know,
Jennifer.
the-
she's
Jennifer.
my
like-
favorite. She's a crossbow, so she's my
Yeah.
my favorite.
I mean, she's the poor man's Joan Crawford.
That's fair.
She
yeah.
has that
Okay.
insane eye makeup, and it was just very
Yes.
good. And like the suits, like the whole like riding suits with like the hats and everything, like very, very good.
Yes, like if you're someone who's like in power and kind of like depraved and crazy because of that, you should be like overdoing something with
Yeah.
your look. Because
Oh,
no
I
one's gonna
see
say
why
anything.
I see, Skinner, why you said you wanted to pick the president, because she plays the president in the remake.
Yes.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So
Carmen
that's
Duncan.
very cool.
Which is a very good
And-
name.
She's been in a ton of stuff too. Like
She was on Another World, yeah. One of my favorite soap operas of all time.
she's in some show called or some movie called Liquid Bridge, which just seems very strange that I kind of want to watch.
I like the show that she was on in 1971ish, and it's an Australian show called Matlock Police, which is the police of a town named Matlock. But
Yeah.
in my head, it's a task force made exclusively up of multiple Matlocks.
That would have been a great crossover if like Matlock had been going at that time and he could have gone to the town of Matlock.
You know, like Matlock on the Road.
Yes.
kind of like a Littlest Hobo or but Matlock.
We need Matlock down here at the town of Matlock in Australia for some reason to do some lawyering.
They're gonna give him an award
for bringing good name to the town of Matlock.
I just find it in this movie, so, like, I love dystopian futures. They're always great, right?
Oh yeah,
and they're always warning us of the terrible future we have based on the current climate we are having. It's always so thinly veiled. But like, to me, like, this idea of like Australians worried about a dystopian future where they're oppressed and for every thought and word and deed, like, contrasts so much with the Simpsons episode where the Simpsons go to Australia.
And from what I know of Australians, like in real life,
like they couldn't give a it required them to give so much more of a shit than I imagine they do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm sure some of them think the lockdown was this, but even they took it well. And they didn't need a wolfman to keep them inside.
And they're doing better now. Even
if part of their lockdown was caused by some pizza delivery guy who lied about his contact tracing because he wanted to stay busy, which should be a movie starring Ashton Kutcher.
This movie should have ended with someone just getting the boot and then they get to escape.
It's just a little kick in the bum.
I'm gonna tell you my favorite character, and it's not great because this guy is.
We didn't ask you, Josh.
I know, but I want to
know. I want to know.
It's not great because this guy is an attempted rapist, so it's
Mallory?
not good. But
most of them are
Red.
Oh.
Red, because I like his voice.
Oh,
he just has this weird energy. Like he's got like he's
my flower, my sweet.
Yes, this guy, and he was born in the USA and then went to Australia, I guess.
How do you go from West Bend, Wisconsin, to live in Melbourne, Australia?
I don't know, but yeah, I just like something about the way he speaks. Like I feel like he has a very weirdly soothing voice. I don't know if it's like a ASMR thing for me or what, but just him going, yes, my little flower.
No one is ever allowed to call me flower ever. I just hate it.
I'm gonna taste your honey.
Oh God.
God, now our listeners know how to get into your bed.
That's right. I mean, talk to me like Gus Mercurio, also a great name, and I'll just melt like butter.
Wilt like a flower.
He was also in Crocodile Dundee too, along
somebody
with
had
Steve
to be.
Rackman. But yeah, there's a couple of cast members of Turkey Shoot who ended up in the Crocodile Dundee movies.
I mean, naturally.
I haven't seen those in so long. Who is Donk?
Who's Donk? In Crocodile Dundee 2?
In all of them. He's in every one. Oh, I see him. He's this big guy. He's in every Crocodile Dundee movie, the guy who plays Alph.
I would have said it at one point in my life when I was much, 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 much younger that like Crocodile Dundee was one of my favorite movies. I may have been thinking of Crocodile Dundee 2 when I said it out loud as a kid.
All right, Skinner, I'm making a bold proclamation right now, since we don't know what the future of the show will be in 2021 and kind of how the format will change. I think we're gonna have to do all the Crocodile Dundee movies at some point.
Ooh.
Oh, can we call ourselves the Crocodile Buddies for it?
Well, you can.
Oh, fantastic. I mean, like,
because I've watched the first two a lot. I've never seen Crocodile Dundee in Los Angeles.
I have. But I don't remember it. Like, by the way, like, we haven't decided what we're doing, but the entire pitch so far from me is we just say predictocast to keep the feed, and then we do a couple of movies based on like one idea, and I come up with a really stupid name for what we call it, that sequence of movies.
I think it works.
Yeah, that's basically it. I mean, we're fine. We're still, figuring out a way to keep doing the show, but maybe changing things up a little bit. And
sure.
maybe making it easier for us to have guests on, because it's a really big ask to make people come on 2 separate episodes, and like we don't want to like take up too much time. Also, another movie that we have to cover that has Steve Rackman, aka Alph, in it is a movie from 1988 called Computer Ghosts.
Ooh.
Computer Ghosts.
It
Wow.
looks amazing.
Like, what is it about?
Well, are we going to just spoil it for ourselves?
No, that's true. We can't do that. We can't. I don't know what our future holds with if we're going to actually ruin movies for ourselves anymore. So we shouldn't do that.
But I mean, with a title like that, come on.
How do we get somebody really famous in the show and have ourselves cover ants?
ANTZ ants?
ANTZ ants.
Oh.
Can we get Sylvester Stallone on to talk about ants? He's in that, right?
I mean, I'm sure he's available.
I mean, I don't want to get Woody Allen.
Good point.
Oh, God.
Oh, by the way, ants. Oh, God.
Yeah. I feel like anytime you're making a movie about insects, like cartoon movies about insects, it doesn't go the way you really want it to. I mean, we had Bee Movie.
No, yeah, that was bad. I mean,
That was
A Bug's
bad.
Life has a terrifying bird.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's the best of the bunch, right?
What's
A Bug's Life, yeah.
Yeah, what's the CGI movie from around that time about the robots? That's not Wall-E.
Robots?
Is it called just Robots?
I think it's just
so.
called Robots.
What's the mouse in Stuart Little's name?
Ted.
Aw.
Oh,
I wish there was a movie called Ants, AUNTZ, and it was about some cool ants
No,
going on a road
that-
trip.
There
You
is
suck.
a
Don't
movie
say
like that.
that.
It's called Baps.
Babs. Babs was back in Canada. We didn't have HBO. We had TMN, which stood for the Movie Network. And there's way too many channels in Canada in the 80s and 90s where the first letter of the channel was T for the. But Baps was always on, just never not on at one point.
Yeah.
You had
No.
TBN, the BAPS network. Nonstop BAPS 24/7.
Non-stop Babs. Ewan McGregor was in Robots. He was the star.
Oh, wow.
We can get him on to talk about ants.
Or we can get Robin. Well, no, we can't get Robin Williams on.
Oh. So I have to go back slightly, back to Matlock Police,
Oh.
and my BFF Gus Mercurio. He was also on Matlock Police alongside Carmen Duncan. She was only in 1 episode. He was in 8 episodes, and he played 8 different characters.
What? Who is he? James Franco?
He played, 8 in his 8 appearances across 3 years. He played 8 different characters, 2 of whom might be related because one is Robbie Miller and the other is Don Miller, but they were in different episodes. So who knows?
It's like
He could do it all.
how they kept changing the saint. That's an old one for you guys.
I only know that through the Val Kilmer movie.
Mm.
I am significantly older than Beau, so she can't pull anything on me.
You're older than, like, by what, a day?
No. Like
2
a week.
weeks.
2 weeks.
Okay.
He's 2 weeks
That's
old,
right.
exactly 2 weeks older than me. 15 days. Yes.
I've never this has never been brought up before.
You bring it up constantly. It is a
been on, like, at
constant
least-
in our friendship.
I think it's been on at least 4 episodes of different podcasts.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so much older than you, Beau.
Oh, I am though. I feel it every day.
Look at us. Who would have thought?
Speaking going back to Alph,
Mm.
there were times when I was rewatching this that he looked like Ken Marino to me in a couple of shots.
How dare you? I am leaving. How dare you malign Ken Marino
That's
like
because
that?
they're both attractive.
What?
I want that to be your reason for anyone who looks like Ken Marino. Like they're just both attractive.
If you put them in it's mostly in the profile. If you look at their profiles together, I
Josh,
think that
no.
they have a look about them. There's something about their nose.
I
Is it
refuse.
the nose, not
No.
the jaw?
No,
Oh.
it's there. I'm telling you.
I'm looking at pictures of both, and now I'm looking at shirtless pictures of Ken Marino.
Oh, so I did that once, and I was tweeting about like thirst trap pictures of Ken Marino, and then right after that, I tweeted like a screenshot of the highbrow lowbrow sketch that they did on the State, where he's like sitting on a balloon or something. Like, he just looks really stupid, and he liked that tweet, but none of the thirst tweets.
He has a Google alert that excludes any like
Yeah,
photos of him or thirst imagery or anything like that.
yeah.
What would you guys do if someone posted a thirst picture of you?
Oh boy.
I mean, that's not real. I mean, I'd be like, congratulations on your very specific fetish, I guess.
You've got you have a very narrow lane. Do you like
Right.
Smurfs?
You're really niche there.
Are you a fan of Willow, the movie? Like, what is it? One of the brownies? Like, what are we talking about here?
I don't know how I would feel about that.
Yeah, I don't know. I probably wouldn't like it, but
I think, like, just in general, like, I assume celebrity is the weirdest thing possible.
mhm.
But, like, that'd be weird. It'd be like, I don't know. I'm like, imagine if Baby Yoda is real and he's sitting there, like, scrolling through things. Like, what are you making me do? I'm just a baby.
I don't watch that show. I don't know. I just know that it's cute. I see the merchandise everywhere.
The merchandise is everywhere.
Yes.
And they complained it wasn't anywhere. And then that was no longer a problem.
No.
Yeah, now it's everywhere.
I want to just shout out and say you guys have amazing restraint and are very cool for not talking about the unisex shower scenes.
Yeah. I mean, it's. I think that's there simply for like, oh, we got to get some.
Speaking of very specific fetishes.
It just
we got to get like some sex in there, I guess. Like,
I guess, but like it's real hard. Like I was worried for like pretty much the whole like I think we ended the first part 1 of the first episode just like, is this gonna be the movie? Like we were just kind of worried like, oh, are we gonna have the threat of sexual violence the entire movie? Which
yeah, there is a lot more of it than I remember.
Yeah.
the whole front end is that kind of.
Yeah, you sort of forget about it a little bit because of everything that comes at the end, where the violence is so over the top and comical and like fun
Yeah.
in a way. I mean, as much as, you know, violence can be fun, but it's so over the top that it's kind of easy to give yourself over to it. But like, yeah, the beginning where there's just that constant threat, and then like where Red, again, my favorite character, I don't know what that says about me, you know, tries to attack Chris in the shower, and, you know, of course something about marries him and zips his dick up. And you know, like that kind of stuff is very extreme. And then there's the whole like moment where, and I don't know if this is intentional in the movie or if it's just not them thinking about it, but like there's that moment where they call that one prisoner out of line and they make her start talking, and then Ritter is like kind of air punching around to kind of distract her.
I was like, what
and that's really funny. And then it gets really awful when he really starts like hitting her. And it's like, are they intentionally like trying to make you uncomfortable by making you laugh at it and then like pulling the rug out and making it seem more extreme? And it's, you know, more violent and awful. Like, I don't know if that's their intent, because then later that guy gets his hands cut off in a single blow, and it's like, oh, you know. But like, yeah, there are things that like I kind of forgot about until the most recent rewatch, where I was like, oh shit, man, this is like, it's a fun movie at the end, but the beginning is like hard to get through, because it's like, oh, hey, watch this movie, it's a lot of fun and silly, and then like the first, you know, 20 minutes is like threat of sexual violence constantly, and you're like, oh God, sorry.
And
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
One of my least favorite thing movies do, besides like their sexual violence, is when they're doing it in a way that you think you can tell they're kind of like, oh, we're making a point about how bad the bad guys are, but hey, check out this girl's tits.
Yeah,
it's also like excuse to show you nudity. I'm like, like you guys are pieces of shit. Like honestly, like to the actress, you are a piece of shit.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, I think that it's good that it kind of gets away from that. Although there's still like the undercurrent of that with in regards to your guy's favorite character, Jennifer, who is like kind of got a thing for, is it Rita, who she's after for most of the movie towards the end?
Oh no, she's definitely acting like a rapist. So that isn't cool. I don't endorse it. I only endorse her clothes.
Just her clothes and the makeup, and the fact she has a crossbow and she rides a horse.
Yeah.
And
she's cool other than the bad stuff.
I mean, people who are too into horse riding, that's you can't trust them anyways.
Oh no.
But like she goes above and beyond a little bit. God, I miss skimming back through it, like explosive arrows, very good. More movies should have them.
Yes. That doesn't happen enough.
Doesn't she die hilariously by exploding arrow? Yeah, I thought so.
But she like stabs her with it.
Mm-hmm.
It's this thing of like, you don't expect, like when she's fighting with Chris at the end, she's trying to attack her, and then Chris gets the arrow, and you're like, oh, okay, cool. She stabbed her in the neck. She's gonna die, and then her head blows up. You're like, oh yeah, forgot that she has exploding arrows.
Very cool.
Like she wasn't gonna live anyways, but then she really doesn't live. Also, if you're making a movie, we talk about this all the time on the show. Gonna name one character Rita? Don't name another character Ritter. Don't do it.
Or
especially
Red.
especially if you have an accent. Because unlike us as default English speakers.
Yeah. I want to say too that the practical effects were actually, I thought they were a lot of fun in this movie.
Oh, they're so good.
Yeah, like when Ritter gets his hands chopped off, like, and they show the hand and like, perfectly clean cut. It looks like one of those "is this cake" situations.
Oh my God, yes, a cake hand.
Oh man, what if Alph was cake?
Oh,
well, he does get cut in half too. We do see it.
Yeah.
Yes.
In an Austin Powers steamroller-esque death,
right?
Where he's just trapped against a tree, and the guy Tito can't turn away that little tractor fast enough. Alph, get out of the way! And then he just runs right into him at 5 miles an hour.
Yeah. Crushes him in two, which is sweet irony, since after what he did to the ginger guy.
Yeah. He there were moments when he's fighting Dodge where it feels like Dodge is a dummy, and then you see that guy's face moving around and him screaming. You're like, oh, that's just a real person.
Yep. I thought that too. I was like, wow, is that a rag doll? Or nope, that's a guy.
No, it's this guy.
Okay.
The best ragdoll physics are the practical ragdoll physics.
Yeah.
That's right.
I'm just saying it's refreshing to see, such good practical effects.
And like it doesn't like God, for some reason the idea now today is like, oh, it'd be too expensive to do that. Then how the fuck did these movies ever afford it? Because these movies aren't.
Yes, this is like a cheap movie. They probably did not have a huge budget.
$3.5 Australian dollars.
Yeah. Okay, Skinner, pull up your inflation calculator.
Do I have to pull up an Australian inflation? Let me look up dollar reduce.
Okay, you will need it actually.
Oh God.
Okay, so Australian dollars, $2.5 million was the estimated budget.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let me do this.
So turn that into American monies.
No, I'm going to do Australian first and then the other way.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
In theory. Okay.
Okay.
2.5 million?
Yes. And this was in 1982.
let's see. A basket of goods and services valued at $2.5 million. It won't start until 1986 in the stupid calculator. I hate it.
Well, okay, start at 1986 then. Let's just see.
I found another one. This is good. This is good, good radio. As I look up all these dollar redos.
I really wish that's what they called them.
Didn't they try to change it to that?
Why would they ever do that?
Because it sounds like I hate that
increased tourism to Australia.
It would. I would go in a heartbeat. But like
I need to change my dollars to dollary dues, please.
I hate that Canadian dollars and American dollars are both called dollars because they're not actually the same thing. Our money is it's like plastic now.
Wait, what are loonies?
That's right, because people put it on the car, put it on the dashboard of their car, and it melted. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Loonies are coins with loons on them. They're a dollar coin.
Oh, okay.
And the $2 coin has a polar bear on it, and it's called a toonie. 9.6 million Australian dollars in 2020.
Okay. Okay, and how much is that in American?
Well, let me check my other app that I keep up at all times.
Skinner does the finances for the podcast.
7 million.
Okay,
that's
so
really
they made
cheap
this
for a
movie
movie.
for $7 million.
$7 million dollar dues.
That's super cheap, and you have movies that are $50 and $100 million out there today, and they're like, "Oh, we have to do everything CG," and it's like they did what you need to do. Like, we don't need CG blood, we don't need like shitty gore.
Yeah,
like you can just hire a good makeup person.
You know why?
And
unions.
Oh, yeah,
Unions.
Okay, I'm in a union. Damn it!
Like, what if
I'm destroying the country?
What if instead of nice practical backdrops, 2 movies, all green screen, all CGI wallpaper?
Oh,
well, I mean,
they have made
that would help
those.
my company.
That is a thing, Josh. You're gonna be out of work by the. What's the difference between 1982 and 2020 by inflation? That's 40 years in Australian years. So
Euros.
What's a good Australian word for millennium? Millennium?
It would have to
Millie-doos?
Millenno.
Millennos.
They like to end things with O.
It's very good.
It is very good.
Daniel Ifland, tell us if we're being accurate to Australia.
You have to understand, I am watching a lot of the Great Australian Bake Off right now.
Oh, that's true. You're very tapped in right now to what's going on in Australia.
There's an American on, and it makes me very sad the season I'm watching.
Both the last
Oh, that's
season of The Leftovers and the last season of Preacher both take place in Australia. And Preacher,
I haven't gotten to the last season of Leftovers yet, so no spoilers.
No. But Preacher really has fun with it. It's
After Thanksgiving, you can get to the leftovers, Josh.
Yeah.
Oh,
Zing.
We're after Thanksgiving now when this episode is dropping.
What? God, what is this? Time inflation? I don't understand.
Do your math.
Are we in Australian time now?
Yeah, there's a lot of explosions and shit at the end. A lot of people die, which is pretty good. We didn't even talk about,
but it ends so stupidly vague. Like, well, we did it, and it's like, no, there's still this like whole government,
and they're trapped on an island.
Yeah,
that's like the whole movie from the very start seems kind of pointless in a way of like. They're on an island, they can't escape. And like they tell them constantly, you can't escape, you're on an island. And then the ending is, you're on an island, you can't escape.
I don't think they know that it's an island necessarily. They just know that they're in a camp, but they find out towards the end that it's an island, and then they send fighter jets to destroy everything. So it's
Maybe it's a peninsula.
We lost all of our supplies, and we're just stuck here. So we won, though, I guess.
Yay.
But like it is satisfying that every bad guy dies.
It is. I mean, Thatcher's death, which is I was about to talk about, is particularly satisfying because it kind of comes out of nowhere. Like, you know that he's going to die, but I sort of expected it to be, even rewatching it, I'm like, it should be a like more personal thing between him and Steve Railsback. Like they should have like an actual face off or something. Like, you know, like Thatcher and Paul should have some sort of hand to hand like knife fight or something at the end. But no, he just blows him to smithereens, and it felt very much like MacGruber killing Kuntz at the end. And I fully expected like Paul to throw down the gun and go, "Fuck you, dude." But like it's such an over the top death that like I was baffled by it. Like that moment, I think it kind of is up there with like the Alph reveal for me, because it just seems so like in a way weirdly anticlimactic almost, because they're just firing at each other and then he just explodes with no fanfare and you're like, holy shit, it's all right.
So few movies that are not like horror movies or anything would ever just melt the main bad guy.
Yeah. I mean, RoboCop did.
That's true.
Oh,
but yeah, I mean, they just turned this guy to hamburger.
Speaking of great deaths, oh gosh, the fat man. I'm saying that I'm calling him this because he is fat. I'm a fat woman. I can say fat. It's fine.
Oh, Lowry or something?
Mallory.
Not
yeah.
Lowry. He ate lots of Lowry seasoned salt.
And no, you can tell he's never had seasoning. He's very white. Speaking of great deaths, his was excellent because he gets like, what happens? He gets like shot in the leg or something, or
oh yes,
he's like
he just burns up.
Yeah,
right?
he's like incapacitated and in this cornfield. Okay, I want it noted that this is a cornfield because it's burning and all you can hear is the corn popping. It's so good. It's just like
that is
what a way to go.
That's it's a subtle trick by the filmmakers to sell more popcorn. People hear that noise and they're like, oh shit, I gotta go to the lobby.
I want popcorn now.
Can you imagine having a horrifyingly painful slow death like burning to death is? Well, incapacitated, not able to move away from it. And also
smelling popcorn, fresh.
Not only smelling fresh popcorn, smelling like what it smells like when one of your coworkers burns microwave popcorn.
That's bad.
I mean, if we're gonna talk about good deaths, Red's death is pretty good too, because when he gets tackled by whatever the other guy's name is, Griff, and then they don't know what happened to him, and then they come out and he's on this. He's trapped. He's like hanging from a rope, and they try to save him, and then a big tree trunk with spikes and stuff on it comes out of the jungle and just impales him.
Yeah, he was booby trapped.
It's pretty good.
Yeah,
he deserved it, but it's a good death.
Yeah.
Yes, but it's one of those ones like I appreciate the time they took to make that.
Yes, Griff had to put that all together. In fact, everybody gets this is one of those movies that delivers on the bad guys all getting really satisfying deaths. I mean, I think maybe the least satisfying is maybe Tito, just because he gets a machete in his head, but like it's still a good one, and he kind of has this weird smirk on his face as he dies. So it's like, oh, cool. But yeah, everybody gets dealt with in like a very good way.
There's so many of their deaths where they could have been cake.
Yes, he could have hacked into Tito's head and just sliced it open, and there's cake.
Just layer after layer. It's a nice sponge.
When she stabbed Jennifer in the throat with the arrow, when her head exploded, it could have been like funfetti coming out.
Oh man, I love funfetti. It's like regular cakes. It was more fun.
So, Beau, to kind of wrap things up here, like, what is it about this movie that you think like works for you and makes it an enjoyable thing?
I mean, I feel like because everyone really went all in, like it's very earnest. Like nobody's acting with like a wink and a nod, except for maybe Alph and a few of those types. But like it is earnest and it's goofy and it's dumb and just pretty fun. Like Olivia Hussey, like what she starts maiming people. She really gets a taste for blood. So that's fun.
Yes. Yeah, no, I agree. I think you're right. I think that everybody knows that it's over the top and like silly, but they're not treating it like it's beneath them.
Right.
They're just kind of going with it.
It's not a dude, where's my car,
No, God. No, I think I think you're totally right. Like I love how they're embracing the silliness of it all and not doing what the remake seems to be doing, which is like taking it way too seriously. Like they're just enjoying it, but they're earnestly enjoying it. It's not like put upon, it's not goofy, or I mean it's goofy, but they're not, like they're not doing it with like tongue in cheek kind of thing. They're just embracing the silliness.
Right.
Skinner, what about you? Why do you think this movie works?
Because I spent so much time with it with you, Josh.
That's true. I mean, afterwards I photoshopped Alph into what, like 20 different movies?
It is so good for that. Like, this is a movie that sets itself up as a really uncomfortable movie of just, sexual violence and just people just like the bad guys are so shitty, like really shitty. And the good guys, you don't really get to know them. So everything's in how it's played. Like Beau said, everything's so serious. And the good guys are like serious as fuck. Like they're not winking at all. But every death is so over the top. And once it gets going, it's rolling so hard and then rolled harder and harder and harder that you can't look away. And then they put a Wolfman in, and it's like you look at it, I'm like, oh, they're doing it something that's kind of like a rote thing with just prison island, escaping your overlords, one like most dangerous game in the woods and everything like that. But no one else is doing it with a fucking Wolfman and making people's heads explode. It just goes all the way. And for whatever reason, like because of that, especially the second half, the first half is so of its time. In fact, it's almost of like 4 years earlier. Like it feels like a 70s movie at the start, which makes sense as for a Commonwealth country to be a couple of years behind everyone else. But God.
This is the 2014 one that we watched.
But like once it gets going, it's like, oh, I can't stop watching because all of a sudden it's going at an incredible pace. And it's set up these really shitty bad guys and it's murdering them viciously.
Yeah.
And you kind of want, like a lot of movies set up shitty bad guys and then have like them kind of die off camera. Like they don't do anything satisfying with it. Often because they have a bigger star who doesn't want to have that kind of scene where they're just like slaughtered or turned into hamburger. But like this is a movie that says like, okay, here's some really bad guys. Want to see their shit just completely fucked up? Here you go.
As a matter of fact, I do.
Exactly. And I think that's why Turkey Shoot will always be one of those movies that is special to us and like stays in our hearts and our minds. And we keep Alph with us wherever we go.
Oh, yes. Forever in our hearts.
That's right. Thank you so much, Beau, for joining us for this look back at what a silly fucking movie.
It was delightful. I love being on this show. So thank you so much for asking me.
We absolutely love having you. Please tell our listeners where they can find you on the internet. You have a podcast.
Oh, indeed.
You also do some writing. Please tell us where people can find you.
Yeah, you can find me at thespool.net, where I write about film and television. The aforementioned season 4 of The Crown, I just wrote about that. It's really good, both my review and the season. I also have a podcast, which I co-host with the great Megan Sunday. It's called Let's Get Weirding. We're reading Dune chapter by chapter. We're in between Dune Messiah and Children of Dune at the moment. So that's Children of Dune is going to be coming up soon. And that's when things start getting wild.
Yeah. And speaking of your co-host, Megan, stay tuned because she's going to be showing up on our little retrospective month very soon. So hang tight for that. And I think if you know anything about her and me and Skinner, you already know what movie we're talking about.
10.
Yeah.
It has to be.
We can go ahead and definitely reveal that. Skinner, do you have anything that you'd like to promote? Tell people where they can find you.
You can find me at the Brian Skinner on Twitter, where I host the greatest fleets on the internet.
Oh
if you want
my
to see
That
fleets.
is right. Thank you for bringing that up. This new feature that they've put on Twitter that will go away very soon. Fleets. If you're listening to this in the future, even a week from now, they're probably already gone. But it's basically them copying Instagram with their little stories. It's the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Like, it's just so blatantly
Skinner has
stealing
turned
from
it into
another.
art.
He has. He is doing it the best way that you can do these things.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just want to make each one a little more awful than the one before.
I mean, how many times have you already fleeted that picture of the cheese log going into the turkey?
17 times, I believe, from different angles.
You're diabolical.
I will
and I love
never
it.
stop. Wait. If you've missed it because you can't have seen it before Thanksgiving, look forward and go look backwards if its fleet is still alive for my very special fleet retrospective on spatchcocking.
Amazing. I think that's going to do it for this episode. Until next week, when we're back looking back at another film that we've covered in the first 4 years of Predictocast. I've been Josh.
I've been Barnes & Noble member Brian Skinner.
Hey, and I've been Beau North.
And we predict you'll join us next time. If you like the show, subscribe, rate, and review us over at Apple Podcasts. We're on Twitter and Instagram at predictocast, and you can find our entire back catalog at predictocast.com. Our theme music is by Kyle Sledge. Find more of his work at soundcloud.com/geistmusic. As always, thanks for listening.
There's so many Ice Age movies.
I've never seen any of those.
Every now and then they're on, and Hollywood will watch like a few, like 10 minutes of it because they're like, oh, there's a cartoon on. They look like shit.
Yeah.
They're unpleasant to look at.
Yeah, I don't know. I always saw that, like, what was it, squirrel thing in that movie, like the one that's always trying to bury an acorn.
I had a coworker who thought that character was the funniest thing in the world, and since I didn't like that coworker, I also did not like that character.
I was like, I don't know what this is, but I don't want any part of it.
I just want to hear Ray Romano talk.
Well, I mean, we all love hearing Ray Romano talk.
I mean, that's like, just listen to speaking of ASMR, it's Ray Romano. Which,
I don't
you know,
know.
that
So you
actually
heard Brian's
is kind of
contribution in the background.
Are you gonna be start talking about Dr. Katz now? Oh, Deborah! There was 4 seasons and 96 episodes of Cosby, the follow-up to the Cosby Show.
What?
I guess I have to cut all of this gold out.
Just use it for the stinger.